Hello, everyone, and welcome back to CBJ Sports. This is episode 19. This week it's me, CJ, and Josh. We're going to go through, talk some college football, some MLB. The NFL is getting underway. Of course, you can listen to us on Twitch every single week, every Sunday around 3. And, this week it's a lot of interesting stuff. The NBA free agency is getting underway. I have my live stream volume all the way up so I can hear that in the background. But we're going to start off with the NFL training camp and preseason. Which player has impressed the most during training camp?
I got Boogie Basham from Wake Forest or from Buffalo. I think everybody expecting what he's supposed to do. He's a 4-year vet out of college, and he's just living up to the hype.
Josh?
Yeah, we're both going to go Buffalo because, when it comes to preseason and training camps, that's what we're going to look at. It's just our favorite team mainly. And I have Isaiah Hodgins for Buffalo. He was drafted last year, was hurt, didn't get to play his rookie year, but coming out this year, fully healthy. And he's, after all the reports and everything I've seen, they said he's looking like a top-tier receiver right now.
Yeah, I have a main guy, but I want to say a player from the Panthers I have like J.C. Horn, the first-round corner. He's locked up DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson all week long. He's had like 3 picks day one in training camp practice. But my name is Trey Lance. I think Trey Lance has shocked a lot of people during training camp, be able to make those deep throws that everyone was kind of questioning. But I think Trey Lance is going to prove a lot of people wrong during the season. If Jimmy G goes down again, he's a guy to watch out. The next is linebackers. There's been a lot of conversation after the Madden overalls got dropped and guys saying that they're better than others. Darius Leonard signing a big contract. And we're going to go through with the linebackers. This is guys that stand up and play that linebacker position 1 through 5. We can start at 5 and work our way up. If you want, I'll start at 5. At 5, I have the Buccaneers' old-time guy, Levante David, who had a crazy year, crazy game in the Super Bowl. Levante David and Devin White were a good duo, but I have Levante at 5.
I got Darius Leonard at 5.
Oh, Josh.
We're going 5. I got Demario Davis at 5 with New Orleans Saints. He's like the key to that defense.
I like it. At 4, I went to a guy that got told he was a 99 in Madden. I went Bobby Wagner. He's a guy that really just goes for tackles. He's not a great coverage backer, but he's definitely one of the best backers in the league since Luke Kuechly. But right now, I have him at 4 with the linebackers that are younger and more fast above him.
I got Roquan Smith at 4. All my linebackers are all young guys.
Josh?
I went Levante David at 4.
Levante at 4 or 5. I like that. 3, I have the guy that's probably going to be CJ's 1. I have Devin White at 3. I don't think he's the pass coverage guy that I have above him, the 2 spots I have above him. Devin White's still a little bit younger than the guys I have above him, and he's got to become that team leader above Levante David. But Devin White is very fast. He can move to the football. He's a great tackler. I think I had to put him in the top 3 after that Super Bowl performance.
I got Fred Warner at 3. I got he can do everything, run sideline to sideline and everything.
I really like David White. It's just the stats. I understand with the Super Bowl performance and everything, but he does have a lot of potential. And he could be a very top tier linebacker in this league. But I want someone who's just he's not talked about a lot. It's a defense that doesn't have truly a lot of big names, not a lot of help, so he doesn't really get the shine. And I want Eric Kendricks from Minnesota. He's always there and he's always got the stats. It's just not talked a lot and not on a very great defensive team.
I like Eric Kendricks. He's been really good for a long time. At 2, I went with the guy that CJ had at 3. I went Fred Warner. If he's not the best linebacker, I have one above him. He can do it all. He's got speed. He can play pass coverage. He's lined up in the nickel for the Niners a little bit. He's literally a guy you can put in place. He does everything. Like CJ said, sideline to sideline guy, doesn't miss tackles. He's going to be a force in the league for a very long time.
I lied. I have Levante David at 2. He's one of the best vets in the NFL right now. We've seen what he can do.
I got Fred Warner at 2.
And at one, that's why I was shocked when CJ said this guy was 5. I think Darius Leonard is the most complete linebacker in football. He's almost a 6th-round guy, I think, late in the draft for the Colts a couple years ago. I mean, he's instantly – I mean, he doesn't have the speed to match up with guys, but he's that Kuechly. He's that guy that can diagnose a play before it happens. He's already the team captain of that defense. Darius Leonard is the guy at linebacker, I think, in the NFL right now. He got paid today to show that he's the guy at linebacker. I think Darius Leonard is going to be the best linebacker for a while for me.
And I got Devin White at 1. I think we've seen he's the fastest linebacker right now by like far. I mean, he can blitz. He can shed that block on the tight end or running back. He can pick up a tight end. He's big enough. And I think with him playing with Levante David is going to really help his career.
You guys went super young with like more potential, even though Darius Leonard is a top tier. I had Darius Leonard like right at 6. I ain't having him in my top 5 because at number 1 I got Bobby Wagner. I mean, you understand, like last year he was on the worst defense in the league, and that's not really on him. I mean, we all know Bobby Wagner is like a number 1 or 2 linebacker for the last how many years? 7, 8, and he hasn't regressed. It's just that defense around him has regressed super bad. But he's still a top tier linebacker in this league.
I think it showed that top 5, especially showed us the guys at linebacker are not any less at another position. This group of 5, 6 guys are really good. And they're going to control the league for a long time with guys like Fred Warner, Devin White, Darius Leonard, still at that linebacker position. Last but not least, as we move closer to the season, who's going to be that shocking coach of the year? Who's going to be the guy that, like last year, I can't pronounce his last name. Is it Stefanski for the Browns?
Yeah,
Stefanski.
Yeah.
He got it after leaving the Browns to the playoffs. I want to start it off because I have a name that instantly popped in my head. It's Mike Vrabel in Tennessee. He's finally going to get the recognition he deserves for making that roster what it is, helping the GM. They have Julio. They're right now the best running back in the league, and Derrick Henry. That offense is going to be really good. I think Mike Vrabel wins Coach of the Year by landslide.
I got Brandon Staley from the Chargers. I don't know where he came from. I think he was a coordinator somewhere, but I mean that talent's there on that roster, and I think he was an offensive coordinator somewhere, but I think they'll make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I like that one. Coach of the Year, you have to kind of look at it as like it's not based off like Vrabel definitely earns a lot of respect with what he's done with Tennessee, but it's like Tennessee's like been right there for a couple of years now. So it's like if he would have won it, I think it would have been a couple of years ago when he first got that team to the playoffs and built that team. So I think a team that someone who could win it is someone like Ron Rivera with Washington. Washington now has the number 1 defense right now. They could make something happen in that division and really pop off. I can't remember. They didn't have a lot of wins last year. Didn't they barely squeeze in the playoffs because they won the division?
Yeah, it was like 8.
I think going back to my very Vrabel, I think where I'm saying he wins Coach, I think the Titans could be one of the best AFC teams. I think they could be.
Yeah, I mean, the Bills. That's the last couple of years.
Like,
they've
there's
been
no shot that you don't give Vrabel the coach of the year.
It's just, I mean, it's like you would have thought the same thing with like Sean McDermott last year. You can't tell me Buffalo wasn't a better team than Cleveland, but because Cleveland came out of nowhere.
Regarding the story, you can't disregard a story like the Browns. Like if a coach leads a team to the playoffs for the first time, and like if Urban Meyer leads a team to the playoffs this year, then Urban Meyer gets coach of the year.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
Mike Vrabel, he's been at the top for the last.
If there's not that backup story
years.
and the Titans win 13 games, no one else deserves it over Mike Vrabel. And they're going to – I think they take that step this year and win 13, 14 games, and Mike Vrabel gets it. That's all. I
just think it's going to be hard for him just based off what he's done so far there already.
Moving on to the NBA. This is something that made me very happy this week as a Chicago Bulls fan as we started our run to get back in the playoffs. But free agency was very exciting. A lot of moves, a lot of pickups. And we're going to start right there in Chicago. Chicago's expectations versus reality. I want to start off being the Bulls fan in the chat, but just going through and we're going to say our expectations for the team and what is really going to happen. Starting with expectations, I think you have to expect, if you're a Bulls fan or you're in that organization, a top 4 seed. You're there in the chase for the top of the East. the superstars play like they're superstars or all-star level guys play up to that potential. But in reality, I think this team's the middle of the pack. I don't think they get off to a hot start. They have to click first with Vooch, DeMar, Lonzo, Zach. I think they end up being a 5, 6, 7 team. But that's also not a team you want to see if they get it clicking during playoff times. And I think they're a very hard series out for a team like the Heat, like the Bucks. If they catch them in that early first round, second round, I think the Bulls have a shot to make a run if they get slumped back in the pack.
Yeah, like you said, I don't think they're gonna start off fast at all. They gonna have to get some chemistry first. If I had to put them at like a seed by the end of the year, it'd probably be. I think highest would maybe be 5 or 6, right? Like you said, right in the middle, probably.
Yeah, I definitely don't see Chicago coming out and just being like running the East. I'm not a huge guy. I'm not super high on Lonzo Ball at all. I think he still has to prove a lot in his game. But then again, I don't think he has to do that much in Chicago. I don't think he just needs to come out. I think Zach Rusk, who we had in this show previously, he said that Lonzo really just needs to come out and have 15 points, like 8 assists, rebounds. That's really all he needs to do in Chicago. But I think definitely like a 5 seed in the playoffs. But by then, I think they're going to start clicking maybe, and they could make a run.
Yeah, my reality is, yes, I know they could be, but also like the ceiling is the limit. Like if you have a playmaker, Lonzo Ball, and the guys score like they're supposed to, this could be a 3, 4 seed in the East competing with the Heat and the Sixers for that 3, 2, 4 spot if this team gets clicking early. But like CJ and me first said, I don't think this team's going to be chemistry-wise altogether early. Biggest pickup. For me, I think it's Westbrook to LA. I think the hungriness for a chip that he's going to bring to Bron and AD is going to change that team mentally. I think Russell Westbrook's going to be able to play the point guard spot. I don't think LeBron's going to be taking the ball up the court a lot. I think Russell Westbrook is the key to that team if Bron wants to get back to the top.
Yeah, I mean, I have Westbrook. It's like you almost got to, like, he's going to play with Bron and AD and all them. Yeah, like you said, Bron won't play point guard. I think that's good for Bron, though. He can just sit back and watch. But, yeah, I went with Westbrook.
Yeah, I think Westbrook's definitely one of the biggest pickups this offseason. It takes a lot of pressure off LeBron's hands, mainly like coming up the court and really running the offense. It puts the ball in Westbrook's hands, and it just adds another person with ball handler running the offense.
I'm kind of shocked that we all went Westbrook. Kind of shocked, honestly. I thought when I wrote that down that no one else was going to say Westbrook. But the next question is moving to the conferences. Is the East finally there with the West, or are they a little bit ahead? And my answer is I think they're there. I think they're right knotted up. I think both sides are competitive. They have the Sixers, the Celtics, the Bucks, Heat, Bulls, Nets, and the Hawks. All teams that can make a run for the top of that East that legitimately have a shot to win it. And in the West, you have Phoenix, the Lakers, Golden State, Utah, the Clippers, only 5 teams compared to 7 that I think are now ready to win the conference. And the superstars, as that's always been a comparison of how many there are in the West and the East. In the East, they have Giannis, KD, James, Kyrie, Jimmy Butler, Zach LaVine, Jason Tatum, Joel Embiid, Trae Young. Like, we couldn't always say that for the East, star-wise, to match up. And I think now the East is right there, if not a little ahead of the West in competitiveness.
Yeah, I'd say they're about even right now. I mean, you got both sides, West and East, have 5, 6 good teams that can play some basketball. I think if you would say starting from last year, if you were to say, I'd probably say no. But like the Knicks and the Hawks and everybody's starting to make runs.
I think it's nice to see the East having more talk and more superstars in the East. But I think when it comes down to it, yeah, there's like 7 like good teams in the East, but in reality, I think the 5 teams in the West are like just as good as only I think the top 2 or 3 in the East. Like you got Nets and Bucks, but like you said, Heat, Bulls. Like I think Clippers and all them are better than like Heat and Bulls as of right now.
I kind of want you to clarify that, just because when I look at the top of the East, like I think the Heat could be
That's the thing.
past maybe the Jazz and Suns. I think the Heat compete with the rest of the West. I think the Heat match up with the Warriors. They match up with the Lakers. Like that team's really good. The Hawks just went to the Eastern Conference Championship. Like Trae Young was almost unguardable for some of those games. Like it's not just two teams anymore. I think there's 5, 6 teams that could compete in both sides. Like
I think it's definitely. I don't know. It just seems like the West teams are just like so much better. I think, in my opinion,
There's some West teams where there's some East teams like going up against the East versus West. There's some West teams that are, or some East teams that are not going to be able to score with the West.
but it's also
it's still
defensively
even.
such a better conference. Like
Yeah.
the Warriors aren't putting up 100 on the Knicks, and I didn't even list the Knicks in that top 6. And like, I don't know. I think the Lakers barely made the playoffs last year. Like, and I put them in that because they have Bron and AD and they added Russ, and that's instantly a better team. But I don't know. I think if I look at
really
teams like the Jazz, the
honestly.
Clippers, I mean, I could have thrown the Mavs in there, but I think the conferences are very even at this point. Staying in conferences, a sleeper team from each conference. We'll start in the East and go to the West. The East, I went Hornets. I think it's young, it's talented. I think they make the playoffs this year with the second-year LaMelo Ball. I think this team defensively is ready. If they can get that big man, I think the Hornets can be a playoff team.
Yep. That's who I got. I got the Charlotte Hornets. I think just with LaMelo, I mean, he won Rookie of the Year. And then just that young core, it's just so good. Just going to be able to get up and down the court. They're not going to be as tired as most guys. Like you said, I've been waiting for the Hornets to get an actual center forever, and I really hope they do. And once they do, they'll make the playoffs.
Yeah, I guess Hornets would be the best one. Like you could go Bulls because Bulls didn't really make it.
I didn't want to put my sleeper.
Yeah,
now they're hyped.
That's what I'm saying. Because the amount of talent they just added compared to like Hornets, I don't think they added anyone.
I mean, Pacers.
Yeah, the Pacers are my next team to go, but I went with the Hornets because of LaMelo. I think that team's ready. Moving on to the West, I think a team that, like I said, I didn't mention in that top tier of the West. I'm going to go the Mavs. I think Luka's ready. I don't think he needs as much help as other guys. I think Luka's that superstar. If they can give him a little help, I think that team's ready to win a championship now rather than later. And if all it takes is Luka dropping 60 and then win the game. But like if he drops 40 and Kristaps drops 20, like this team can score. If they can get some defense going and Luka's always on it, this team can win now. And I think they could be a top 5 seed in the West if Luka can figure out how to do it by himself.
I got the Grizzlies. I think you got John Morant, they just got Steven Adams. They get a good young core. It's a really young team. I think John Morant will do his best and everything to carry them to the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Mavericks. With the I don't know, because going into the next question, I have Mavericks as my team for the next question.
But that doesn't really match up well.
It's hard. I'm looking at like the standings from last year. Like Warriors are at 9, so that's kind of like but then again, they get so many big names.
Yeah, it's not really a sleeper anymore.
That's what I'm saying. It's not really a sleeper.
No.
So you sticking with the Mavs?
Yeah, I was just going Mavs.
Moving on to who got worse. I'll let you go first, Josh, since we kind of already know your team.
Yeah, I think Mavs. I don't know if it's more worse or more of they just didn't do nothing to really help. They signed Tim Hardaway to like some not ridiculous contract, but a big contract, and I don't think they really needed to really sign a big contract. They need to get some shooters around Luka. They need to I was expecting Mavs to be one of the teams to pick up a really big name in the offseason, and they didn't. I don't know why or what their plan is.
Kristaps taking up a lot of that cap space.
Like Kristaps is not who he used to be no more. I think his time is kind of coming to an end, and we just have to understand Kristaps is not that guy that's going to drop 20 every game no more. We have to understand that his role is just going to be he needs to play more down low in the paint and use his size to an advantage. That's what I think he needs to do.
I like it. CJ?
I had Pelicans, but I switched mine because they got Devontae Graham and a couple other people. I'm going with the Wizards. I mean, you trade Russell, and then you get Kyle Kuzma, and I don't know who else they got. What's his name? CP.
KCP.
I saw
I mean,
something. It said that trade in a fantasy game or fantasy league would have got vetoed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it just says it for itself. Like, you just gave up Russell Westbrook for some bench players, really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, they kind of had to
horrible.
move him, and Kyle Kuzma is kind
Yeah.
of that piece that kind of saves that trade because Kyle Kuzma's potential still hasn't been seen yet. But I agree with that. I went with a team that, like we said, is good, but they didn't get better. I went with the Knicks. Yes, they re-signed old
Yeah.
Derrick Rose. They re-signed old Nerlens Noel, Reggie Bullock, and they signed them to 30 mil deals, like huge deals for those type of players. And the only person they added was Miles Bridges, Deuce McBride, as I know as a West Virginia fan. He's going to be good for the Knicks, I think, off the bench. But they didn't get better in any aspect, starting wise, rotation pieces. I think the Knicks took a step back instead of making a push like the Bulls and the Hawks did, adding guys.
Yeah.
Anyone else got anything to add on the free agency in the NBA?
Nah, like you said, I think the Knicks should have went after another superstar.
Yeah, I think Julius Randle definitely needed help. As we move on to something that is inching closer towards us, football is coming back, and college football is going to be a big segment on here. As we're going to have pick 'em for NFL and college and keep up with it. And a segment that I want to start, and we're going to keep throughout the season, like College Game Day does, a dog of the day, an upset, and we're going to look forward to week one and have a week one upset that we think could happen. And I want to start off with a big one. It's a long shot, but I think Florida Atlantic and Willie Taggart could really go into the swamp and play with a Florida Gators team that doesn't have a quarterback yet, Emory Jones. Emory Jones is not proven. It's week one. We know Florida Atlantic can recruit. Willie Taggart coached at Florida State. He has his son as the backup quarterback, but N'Kosi Perry from Miami transferred in. It's going to be the starting quarterback at Florida Atlantic. I think they're going to put Florida on notice week one. I think it's going to be a tight game. That's what I would put money on. I don't know if they're going to be pulled off, but if they can, I think that had to be my upset of the week.
Well, with mine, I literally put FAU beats Florida by 7. And yeah, like you said, I don't know who Florida's quarterback
Emory
is.
Jones.
They lost a couple people. I know FAU got a bunch of big recruits and stuff, and that one just stood out to me the most.
Yeah, I think Willie Taggart's going to be very fired up to walk into Florida, his home state, and take down Florida and Dan Mullen.
Yeah, when I think it comes to upsets, I'm looking at all these games. I think that one really stands out the most. If it could be the biggest upset, I think.
You
I don't think
also agreed with us?
Yeah, I don't think it's as much of a long shot as you're saying. Like, I think there's actual potential for upset.
I mean, I'm not going to downplay, like, it's still Florida. Like, that's
it's still Florida, but like we've seen Florida without a quarterback.
Yeah. When I was going through them, I was just looking to see which one like actually might be possible, and that was the first one.
Yeah, that one.
I know Florida Atlantic has a history of getting recruits. They can play up to par. And as an SEC fan, I know y'all didn't get to watch him. Well, Emory Jones did not look good whenever he came in to play last year for Kyle Trask. I think this is the year Florida might take a step back, and it starts off on the wrong foot. I think Florida State could take them out week one. Moving on to a decade of football as college football comes back. We're going to go through, we did it with wide receivers a little bit, but we're going to go through quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, offensive line, decade player for each position. Starting off with quarterback, I'm going to go Cam Newton, my guy at Auburn. He won a national championship. I think other than Manziel, Cam Newton was the funnest quarterback to watch.
Yeah, I got Johnny Football. That's one big reason why I started watching college football a little bit more than I used to. I mean, he was so good. He kind of really put Texas A&M on the map.
Like it.
I went Deshaun Watson. I think just from watching Clemson, I think Deshaun really took Clemson to the next step. Dabo Swinney coming in and helped Clemson take that next step, win a national championship.
What a shocker. Clemson fan taking Deshaun Watson. Running back, Monty Ball, Wisconsin. I wanted to go Jonathan Taylor, but Monty Ball is the guy that set all the records at Wisconsin. They always make running backs. I had to go Monty Ball. Watching him break the college football rush record that first time was crazy. He's the best running back I've ever seen play college football.
Mine, like you said, mine's the best running back I've ever seen. I don't know his stats or anything, and I got Saquon. I mean, just watching him take a kickoff to the crib, and then they get back on offense, and he's just hurdling dudes or just putting them out of their shoes and stuff. I mean,
I
it's
kind of
just
wanted to
crazy.
go Zeke and stay in the Big Ten, but I didn't. I went Monty Ball. Josh?
I went Jonathan Taylor out of Wisconsin. When you see a college running back rush for over 6,000 yards in college, that's crazy.
Yeah, Wisconsin makes running backs out the wazoo. I don't know where they make them or what they feed them, but they make 1,000-yard
Cheese.
rushers. They do it every single year. Moving on to wide receiver. I know earlier when we did this, I took Julio. I changed it to a guy that had 1,000 yards pretty much every year in the NFL now and in college when he played. Mike Evans at Texas A&M with Johnny Football. I think Mike Evans is crazy talented, very underrated at that position nowadays. I think Mike Evans had to be my guy for college.
Yeah. I don't know who I took last time, but I got Julio right here.
I think you went Mike Evans last time. I think me and you just flopped.
Did I? I know I had
think
Mike
so.
Evans in there somewhere.
Yeah. Josh?
I went Ryan Broyles out of Oklahoma.
Wow.
That's who I said last time.
That same name.
Yeah, 4,500 yards, 46 total touchdowns. I mean,
Ryan Broyles. Oh, my gosh. Tight end. I went TJ Hawkins socks. Crazy in Iowa. I switched it from Aaron Hernandez, as Josh mentioned to me, that was in 09. But Hawkinson was crazy at Iowa. The only other kid I've seen play college football like that was Aaron Hernandez when he was at Florida. I went Hawkinson just the way he took over the Big Ten.
Yep, I got Mark Andrews from Oklahoma. Played with Baker.
Playoff guy.
I don't know what his stats were. I mean, he could
Andrews,
do everything. He's doing it. He's making himself a name in the NFL right now.
I looked up all the tight ends from the 2010s that won the John Mackey Award. And Mark Andrews had the best single season out of all the tight ends that won the award through the 2010s in the decade. But one guy that stood out when it came to his college career was Austin Severan Jenkins. He almost matched Andrews with 852 yards instead of 900 in 2012, but Severan Jenkins had 500 plus yards in the two other seasons that he played in the 3 years he was there. So he had more total yards and more total touchdowns in his college career than all the tight ends in the list.
I like it. Last one, offensive line. There's one name that blocked Jadeveon Clowney, and that's the one guy that I've always thought about when I think offensive lineman in college, and he went top 5. Luke Joeckel at Texas A&M was, ginormous. He did not allow a sack against Jadeveon Clowney his freshman or sophomore year. That name stuck with me ever since watching that game. I had to go Joeckel.
I got offensive line.
Say Taylor Lewan.
No, I got offensive line university here. I got big Quentin Nelson from Notre Dame.
I like it.
Yeah, when it comes to O-line, thinking college in the last 5-6 years, it's Quentin Nelson's the first name that comes to mind.
You went Nelson.
Yeah, I got Quentin Nelson.
Nelson, I like it. That's gonna wrap up college football. As we move on to something that's heating up, it's post All-Star break, and the first question is really for CJ and Josh, but I want to answer it as a Red Sox fan because I want to prove to the viewers that when it comes to sports, I don't try to show bias, and this answer is going to prove that. Yankees, are they hype or for real? And watching this team, I think it has to be for real. The Yankees are back. I think they needed motivation. They needed hitting. They needed that spark that you get at All-Star break, and they have it in Anthony Rizzo. Me and Josh talked about it the other day. Anthony Rizzo gets a hit every time he's up at bat. He's hit, 3 home runs already since he's been on the team.
He's hitting 450.
I think they needed this push. Yes, the pitching isn't there sometimes, but this Yankees team just needed the spark. That's all it takes in baseball. One big win, one little gimme win, and that can spark you for a 10-game win streak. And the Yankees are on that push in the AL East right now as they try to catch up to the Blue Jays and Red Sox. But I think the Yankees are for real from here on out.
Yeah, like you said, I think they are. They got that spark. I mean, in that Marlins series, Rizzo was just going off, and everybody just starts to play better. I think what's really hurting us, whole team has COVID now, but Rizzo just got it the other day. But yeah, Gallo's starting to take
I
some
saw Gallo
notice.
won a game the other night, didn't he? Or he seized
Yeah.
his winning run.
He went,
The
Yeah, he
seventh
went-
inning, he hit a 3-1 home run to take the
Yeah.
lead.
yeah, he went 3 for 4 that game with 2 doubles and a homer. But yeah, I think pitching's starting to get there a little bit. We called up a couple people, some of our big time prospects.
Luis
But
Gil.
yeah, like you said, they're for real. They gotta make a push.
Yeah, I think bringing Anthony Rizzo in helped set a spark in with the bats in the lineup and helping with the hitting. But I think once Garrett Cole comes back, it's really gonna solidify the pitching. He's gonna bring that pitching back to where it was at the beginning of the year. We found a young star in Louis Gill. I think his name Louis Gill or Gill Louis.
Luis Gil.
Yeah, 23 years old. He came in for his debut and pitched.
He was like no hit through 7 and gave up
Shutout.
like 3.
But I think you're definitely going to see him later more and more this year, and if not, the next couple of years.
I think the biggest part too is that, like, if you were to look at the Yankees lineup at the beginning of the year, literally there was one lefty on that lineup, and it was Brett Gardner. But there were so many games this year where we had just all righties. That lineup now is just so much more balanced out.
I think also going to get Rizzo, going to get Gallo, I think the manager, I feel like Judge and Stanton and guys like that feel that trust, feel that push as, y'all went and got stars. That's telling us we have a shot at this. We can get it rolling and get back into this thing. And I think it's proving out. They went on a win streak, and the Red Sox, the Rays, and the Blue Jays are starting to lose games. I think the Red Sox beat the Blue Jays back-to-back nights. So that helps the Yankees. Even if the Red Sox won, helps the Yankees pass the Blue Jays and try to get in that wild card spot. But I think the Yankees are going to make a push either way. Talking about a guy that's making a push, Bryce Harper is playing out of his mind right now. The Phillies are making a push on the Mets for the division lead in the NL East. And the real question now is, DeGrom is out. He's hurt. Can Bryce Harper make that I wrote playoff push? I meant MVP push. Can Bryce Harper catch DeGrom? And the only way I have it is this. He's got to hit 45, 50 bombs. I think that's the only way he touches him. He's got to hit a lot of home runs. He's got to get his batting average up a little bit more. He can't just play this month the way he's playing. He's got to play it through the rest of the season and hope that DeGrom either comes back and gives up runs, because if he doesn't play a game the rest of the year, I think DeGrom wins MVP just off the ERA. But he's got to make a crazy home run push if Bryce Harper wants to touch the MVP trophy.
Yeah, like you said, he's got to keep that bat going for a while if he wants to pass DeGrom.
It's great. It's crazy that we're even saying that someone has to stay hurt at this or where we're at right now just for someone to win MVP. But I think he can. He's definitely got to keep pushing for it though the rest of the year, not stop.
Yeah, I agree. To wrap it up, I think it's going to be a fun one right here. I know a lot of fantasy guys are about to draft, and we're about to draft in our fantasy league here soon for the NFL. And we're going to go through and just in each round, a name that could be there for the value of the pick. And I know a lot of guys don't know how to draft, so we're going to go through and talk about that also. Before we start at 1, we're going to go all the way down to 5 in the 5th round. Usually my method is try to get 2 backs off the board early, then grab a wide receiver and catch a quarterback late. I'll let y'all say y'all's method if you want.
Yeah, I'll either go 2 running backs, a receiver, or QB, or I'll go 1 running back, receiver, a tight end, and quarterback.
Josh?
All depends on what the type of league you're in. I see that a lot of leagues now are starting to do 2 QB leagues. Like I see a lot of that now. And I know with our league that we got running here, it's still just a 1 QB league. When it's just a 1 QB league, you don't need to draft a QB super early at all, because the top 10 QBs in the NFL, there's only like a 20-point differential from the number 1 to the number 10 QB. But if you're doing a 2 QB league, then you're going to want one of them top 10 QBs a lot earlier just to solidify that. But you definitely need your running backs first and receivers and then quarterbacks.
Yeah, I read a fantasy article this week. Running backs are very short. So if you can get those running backs in 1-2, you have to. There's a million wide receivers that could pop off every single week. Yes, there's the guys like Stephon Diggs, Mike Evans that pop up every single week, but you have to get the running backs that are workhorses early. And I'm going to start off in the first round with a guy that I think is going to be back this year. I think he's the first round pick in everyone's draft if you have the first pick. CMC, Christian McCaffrey. He's going to catch the ball if it's a PPR league, which is even more points for a guy like CMC. He's going to get close to 100 yards rushing every single week. He's got to be that first round pick if he's there.
Yeah, I got Alvin Kamara. Like you said, they're both the same.
Same type of back, yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna get your receiving yards and all that.
Yeah, I was gonna go Alvin Kamara because I seen that they're gonna be lining them up at wide receiver this year for a lot of plays. And if you're in a PPR league, that's gonna be clutch at the running back position. Getting the points for receptions.
I agree. Josh?
So are we done? I gotta name someone else that hasn't been picked yet. Is that what we're doing?
No, we're gonna go value. So like I'll make an example. In the second round, it's kind of like if he's there.
In the first round, if he's there, grab.
It's kind of like they're gonna be there. In the second round, a lot of guys go running back first round. If it's a small league, this guy could still be there. But if you have a dumb nut in the first round that takes him, I'm sorry. In the second round, I think Stephon Diggs could still be there. A number one wide receiver guy, a guy that's going to get a lot of catches, a lot of yards. I think everyone's looking running back first round, but I have Stephon Diggs early second round if he's there.
Yeah, that's who I got at round 2. He'll probably be there.
It really depends on how many teams are in your league because there's
Yeah.
really running backs. There's like 4 or 5, and then after that, I think you kind of go like Diggs instead.
I think most people have
one
an
of them
understanding
running backs.
that you have to get a running back first round if you want to compete in a fantasy league.
But it depends. If you're picking at like 8, like Stephon Diggs would be a better pick than the 8th best running back in the league.
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs is going to get you
I
more
mean,
points
if you don't want a running
than-
back all year, I mean, that's fine. But
I mean, picking a receiver there is going to be better than a running back there. Like, let me look at the 8th best running back in the league.
I
right
promise you're not winning a fantasy football game if you have
now. 1, 2, 3,
backup
4,
running
5,
backs.
6, 7, 8. All right, you can get lucky based off what ESPN's got. You got Ezekiel Elliott at number 8 right now.
Nope, you're gonna lose that.
You
Big
taking
fumbles.
Ezekiel Elliott or are you taking Stephon Diggs?
I'm taking a running back that gets touches in the first round. I don't care who it is.
Just saying.
So you're going with a running back in the second round, or
No,
a wide receiver.
I'm out. It depends. I was just saying with the Stephon Diggs, like if he's there, if he's there, I don't think he's gonna be there around 2. But if he's there, definitely Stephon Diggs.
Round 3, I went back to running back, a guy that's going to fall down the board. I think not going to get touched early is David Montgomery in Chicago. He's the starting guy now. He's going to get most of the touches. Tariq Cohen isn't going to touch the ball. He's going to take a little bit of the carries, but I think David Montgomery's their guy to go to now, and he also catches balls out of the backfield. I think David Montgomery's a steal in the 3rd round. CJ?
I got Antonio Gibson out of Washington, running back. I think he was a rookie last year. People don't really have. Some people are high on him, some are not. But I mean, he's a workhorse. That's one of the most balanced offenses in the league, and he'll be there in round 3.
I have Austin Eckler at number 3.
Austin Eckler.
He's going to get your PPR, get your reception points.
Yeah, all 3 of those guys can do it all. 4, I'm going to finally go quarterback. And if you get lucky and no one stole him in the first 3 rounds, I think he's going to fall behind guys like Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. Lamar's a fantasy king at the quarterback position. You can ask me, guys that have been in my league. I had a year where I had Austin Eckler, Lamar Jackson, and Christian McCaffrey. And Lamar Jackson does it all. He can run the ball. He's going to get enough passing yards, but I think those rushing yards are key when it comes to fantasy because he gets both. And he's always running the football in that offense. Lamar's a steal in the 4th round of the quarterback position.
Yeah, 4th round I have 4th round I have tight end in Green Bay. Robert, I don't know his last name, Tanyan or something like that.
Robert Tonyan.
But he's going to be a top 5 tight end this year in the league. I mean, he's still got Aaron Rodgers. He was hurt last year, I think halfway through, and he came back and started to play really good. But he'll be there in round 4.
I have Josh Allen, the fantasy point leader out of all players last year. Because this round 4 is when quarterbacks are really going to start getting taken off. And if Josh Allen's still there in round 4, Josh Allen's the guy to pick.
Yeah, same thing with, like you said, for me, for the Stephon Diggs pick. I think it's going to depend if you have an idiot in your draft league. Someone might take Josh Allen in round 1 or 2, but in most smart people leagues, Josh Allen could fall to 4. As we move to 5, I have a boomer bust pick. I mean, he could score a touchdown every single week, or he could get 2 catches. I have Gronk at the tight end position. He splits snaps with Cameron Brate, but Gronk is a guy that Brady's always going to be looking for, especially in the red zone. So Gronk is a boomer bust tight end at round 5.
Yeah, I got at round 5. I have Josh Allen. I doubt he'll fall that far, but
There's no way.
yeah, I know. But I mean, that's just.
Let's say you
just
could look for like a
easy.
Dak in 5.
Yeah. Well, either one, him or Dak, that's easy 30, 40 points every week.
Josh?
I have Michael Carter, the New York Jets running back. Jets has got a young quarterback. Michael Carter is looking really, really good for the Jets right now in all the reports I've seen with them. And I've seen a lot of fantasy reports saying that Michael Carter is actually raising in a lot of people's drafts, that he's going a lot earlier now at like 5. There's a lot of drafts that are picking him at 5 now, going a little bit earlier.
I like it. Does anyone else have any fantasy draft sleepers? I know I think Robbie Anderson's going to fall, especially in my draft in our group of friends. I think Robbie Anderson's a guy you could steal late 6th, 7th round, maybe a 1,000-yard guy that's going to get touches from Sam Darnold. A backup quarterback option in Sam Darnold. I think that's a boomer bust pick that if you have him on your bench and that offense gets rolling, I think Sam Darnold could be a guy you stuff away for later in the year. Those are just some Panthers I have that I'm sleeping on later in the draft.
I think the first kicker you take should be Tyler Bass out of
Young Ho Koo. Young Ho Koo.
Tyler Bass.
We got his cleats stolen.
Not the car, the cleats.
Josh. Yeah.
I think Emmanuel Sanders is going to fall pretty far.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be Josh Allen's number 2 option now in Buffalo. So
a name that's going to fall, Michael Thomas. Write it down. He's going to pop off this year with Jameis Winston, and I think he's going to fall at a lot of fantasy drafts at that late 7th, 8th round. And if he's there in the 8th round of my fantasy draft, Michael Thomas is on my team because that's the number 1 guy.
You think Winston's starting?
I think Winston's starting quarterback in New Orleans. I don't think there's any question.
If he don't, I'll stop watching football.
Yeah,
I think Hill's taking on the first team's reps.
Well,
right now.
Taysom Hill starts a quarterback in New Orleans. We have more. We could talk about that right now.
We got the Pelicans already.
I think Winston should definitely be starting. But
Taysom Hill's not a quarterback in the NFL.
I just don't know if Sean Payton's ready to take that leap from Drew Brees.
I don't care. He's 32 and he's not a passer.
You talking about Hill?
Yeah.
Hey, but he can do what Drew Brees did with a little bit more.
No shot.
With a little, I'm talking about in Jameis Winston is a guy.
What Drew Brees did. Drew Brees don't miss passes.
Yeah. See what I'm saying here? I'm not talking about the missed passes. Taysom Hill can kind of do what Drew. He's been there for a while. Winston is the guy that can come in and try to throw 500 yards a game. Hill and Drew Brees weren't trying to do that.
I think if New Orleans wants to win that division, they have to run with the quarterback.
Yeah, I think Winston should be the starter. I don't think you're seeing what I'm saying.
Okay, we're agreeing.
I don't think Sean Payton sees it, is what I'm saying. I don't think it should be a question.
I like it. Try to think of the question.
That's about it.
Something to wrap up on? Nothing?
Who's the greatest defensive player of this decade? NFL.
NFL.
I'm giving mine. I have mine would be Von Miller. I mean,
Peppers count. Max said it's time to get off.
Mine would be Von Miller, and his prime was around 2010 to what, or a little earlier, or later actually than that. I mean, It was pretty scary.
I mean, I could go Darrell Reeves. Darrell Reeves on the Jets,
Definitely
too. Woo!
would be a bad
Lock
one.
that man up.
On the
Reeves
Bucks,
Island.
woo.
I'm trying to think. I can't think of. I could put a name, a picture.
Say
I
Josh
can't think of
Norman.
the name. No. I don't know. I can't think of it.
You know, you can think of him. Well, that's going to wrap up CBJ Sports episode 19. I hope everyone has a great week. We'll be back next week every Sunday, closer to football season. We'll see you next week. Love you guys.